Okay. Is everyone all set?
Yep.
Yep.
Josh,
Yeah, man.
in the meantime, just close down anything that's in the background just to be super, 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 super safe.
Yeah, man.
Thank you. Let's get going in 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome back to this very special edition of Back in My Play and the Player One podcast, where we're going to be talking about E3 2015. The press conferences have happened. We've had a ton of new announcements, and we're here to talk about the ones that are applicable to our interests. My name is Kevin Larrabee, and I have a great panel for us again today. And we're going to start off with the host of the Player One podcast, that is Chris Johnson. CJ, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Kevin?
Good. You're just coming off of your own announcement right now, too.
That's right. Adult Swim Games just announced a partnership with Double Fine Productions on a new game.
Wow.
New IP. Yeah.
Very cool.
Very exciting.
I can't talk about it too much right now, though, right?
No. I can't say anything more than that.
That's still a pretty good setup. Pretty good setup.
Yeah.
Coming from Canada, I can't do the thing CJ usually does, but that's Greg Sega Genesis Seward. How's
The
that?
one and only.
Generation 16 Seward. How you doing,
Shenmue 3
Greg?
for life.
Yep. Sega did not have a press conference today. Rumors of a brand new Sega console last week, but did not come to fruition, so it's okay. And then we have Josh Hillier, who has figured out how to use Google Hangouts after about 45 minutes. Josh, what's up?
My daughter vomited on me at 5:30 p.m. today, and I'm thinking about calling that my daughter Nintendo'd on me
Okay, so
after that press conference today.
we got at least Josh. Josh is allowed himself to look past the puppets today for the Nintendo news, and you know what? I think maybe we should just get that out of the way. It is kind of the freshest thing in our mind. So nope, I think we're still good. I know we had a little glitch there for a second. I think we're still good. Can you guys still hear me?
Yep.
Awesome. So
On my end, another Kevin Larrabee started to exist. It was weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
It's okay. I apologize, folks. If you are watching, I've had some internet troubles in the last hour, but we're going to try to make our way through it. So, like I said, we're going to start with Nintendo today, and let's just kind of go through some of the stuff that they announced. We got to take a look at their roadmap as well for 2015 and for 2016. And they started off with Star Fox, which we learned is now coming from Platinum Games. It's titled Star Fox Zero. We're expecting it in winter 2015. The big, I wouldn't necessarily call it gimmick, but the big differentiator with this version of Star Fox is that it relies heavily on the Wii U tablet. So you're going to be aiming for the most part with that, and just from initial impressions from some of the press, people are saying it is rather difficult to use, not very intuitive, and Peter Brown has a great write-up on GameSpot.com where he kind of explains why it is he feels it is not the the best idea to use that control scheme, and I know you guys got to see it. CJ, it's coming from Platinum.
Yeah. That means maybe this is going to be the first Platinum game that I like. I don't know. Or it could continue the streak where I just don't like it. We'll see.
Josh, how do you feel about
I'm not
holding?
turned off by the motion controls, though, by the way. Splatoon has the motion controls, and I find them to be perfectly fine. So
Even with the case where you may need to be looking at the gamepad more than the action on the screen, I think that was the thing that kind of stood out to me.
yeah, that's weird. Yeah, I don't know if I could do that.
I get the feeling they just didn't explain that very well.
Mhm.
I really don't believe that you have to look at the gamepad to aim. I think that you can. I want to say that I feel like you can adjust your aim.
You can do both.
You can do both. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the initial feedback from Peter is that it is very hard to shoot if you're using the Wii U controller to aim and then looking at your TV screen where most of the action is happening, and then if you look at the Wii U tablet, and you're aiming on there, you have the potential of getting hit from stuff coming on the sides because you're really, or excuse me, that's things that are in front because you will then be tilting more towards one side or the other, and you're not seeing what's necessarily in front of you, and then you could have the potential for more damage.
Yep.
Josh, your initial thoughts on Star Fox Zero?
I don't know why they didn't hype up the fact that it was Platinum Games developing it. That actually came out after the conference, and so people had to kind of do some research to figure that out. But I think that they make plenty of sense, and it looks like they didn't go full-on Platinum with it. It doesn't look completely zany or anything over the top compared to what we're used to with Star Fox. So I think they kind of reined them in a little bit here, which is probably right for the brand of Star Fox. And I wanted to say something along the lines of what CJ was talking about with the motion controls, because I actually love them in Splatoon, and I always have them on when I'm playing Splatoon. And so I think that if you have that mixture of using the right analog stick for sort of turning left and right really quickly, but then you use the gamepad's motion controls for just like moving all around in space in order to aim, that might be a nice mixture. I'm not sure if that's exactly how it works or not at this point.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to wait to hear some more impressions from people there. But again, I would recommend checking out Peter Brown's post. I know from Johnny Metz from Nintendo World Report tweeted a little bit about it, saying it is seems like it might be rather difficult. And also Peter Brown followed up saying that even the people that were doing the demo yesterday from Nintendo were upfront saying that it may be possible that the controls are too difficult for a lot of people to pick up right away. Maybe I don't even know if it's the case if it's like easy to pick up but difficult to master. I don't know.
Yeah, they had their Treehouse Live thing today. I was watching, and they had problems steering the ship. Like crashed into one of the bosses. It's like, oh,
okay. But this could also be a situation just, very much like Twilight Princess, where people saw it at E3 and there were tons of issues with the controls when it came to aiming the bow, but then 3 months later when that game came out, or 4 months later, 5 months later, whatever, everything was perfect and it worked great.
The bow aiming was perfect.
Yeah, that game's pretty good, Greg. So don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Again, we're gonna try to stay laser focused today. We're gonna try to make sure we just talk about what's on the schedule. And I apologize if I am kind of a little bit of a dictator today, but we got a ton of stuff to cover, and only so much time to do it in. So we had Star Fox Zero, and again, maybe. The other big thing that came out of that is that they're using a lot of the mechanics and the somewhat the designs from Star Fox 2 that was never officially released. Now you can pick it up and release a version of it in a reproduction cart. But now you have multiple vehicles and really an R-Wing that is kind of like a transformer, so you can do tons of different stuff, and that looked really, really great. I am just, like I mentioned before, really concerned about the controls, and I don't want to look at the gamepad. I want to look at the action that's happening on this, my 60-inch TV. So that is concerning. But maybe, like you guys said, they'll figure it out, and they still got some time.
The Kirby game that came out earlier this year, the one that's a sequel to Canvas Curse, for some reason the name is totally escaping me at the moment. It has sort of that same thing going on, where you have to look at the screen, the touch screen, a lot instead of the screen that's gorgeous and 1080p and all that. And that's been kind of a bummer in playing that game.
I think that it's, not to go off on a tangent too much, but I think that that's something that they're always going to struggle with the Wii U, because they want to sort of replicate what they're doing with the DS, but with the DS you just have to glance down a tiny bit and see the bottom screen, where at the Wii U it's a complete refocus. So
sure.
But that being said, I think Star Fox, hopefully the controls are good, because I think it looks great, and I mean Platinum makes big, stupid, fun action games, and that should be perfect for Star Fox. Really.
I will mention, I meant to mention it before, but if you do have any input while we're talking about this stuff, tweet to @BackInMyPlay on Twitter, and I'm going to try to read some of those as we go throughout the show, just to get some feedback from the people watching live. After Star Fox, we got to see, and I might not have the order perfectly correct on this, but we got to see Metroid Prime Federation Force, the Larrabee Lock. Not the Larrabee Lock that we necessarily wanted. Potentially, from the way I'm looking at it, we don't see Samus in it. It is based in the Metroid Prime universe, and it is up to 4-player co-op missions in that game. It's mission-based, and it is kind of the what we saw at the Nintendo World Championships, where they had the blast ball that was also part of that, and it's being developed by Next Level Games. And CJ, I mean, we're talking a little bit about this before we started recording, but how do you feel? I know you were talking before about anything Metroid you'd be kind of happy about. Are you okay with this?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I mean, I trust Next Level to make a fun game. They haven't let me down, at all, really. I mean,
Yeah.
Luigi's Mansion and Punch-Out are fantastic games. I'm sure they'll do a great job with this. For me, it's a misstep because everybody wanted a game with Samus. Everybody wanted a real Metroid game. So it would have been fine had they announced a real Metroid game and this game. That would have been fine. People would have been okay with that. Because it's just this game, there's a lot of hate on the internet about this, pointed at Next Level Games and Nintendo, and I feel really bad for Next Level today.
Well, maybe we should even take
show off a new game, and to have negative reaction like this is getting it's got to be horrible.
Well, because it's probably pretty good. I mean, truth be told, knowing Next Level Games, and like you were just saying, their pedigree over the last few years, it probably is going to play really well, and we know that some of the guys there love the Metroid series, obviously. So I just think that it's just not meeting expectations, right? It's that violation of expectations more than it is the actual game itself.
I think I'm going to be jumping ahead, but really taking a step back. And I mean, we can briefly talk about just the reaction from this Nintendo conference or this Nintendo Direct, where I did not get to. I had to work all day, so I didn't really see a lot of what was going on in terms of like feedback. I saw a little bit on Twitter, but mostly it was mostly like lukewarm, is mediocre kind of stuff. But it is just it's really disgusting to see see what some of the people were sending to, whether it was Next Level Games, Nintendo of America, Mr. Iwata even went as far as to tweet out on the official Nintendo Japan Twitter account, and Cheesemeister 3K over at NeoGaffin on Twitter translated what he said was, "Thank you for watching. We take opinions of this year's digital event seriously and will work to better meet your expectations." And then when I ended up looking at that tweet, or excuse me, I searched for like at Nintendo, and the stuff was just gross. I mean, it was Nintendo fans at its worst, and it is, like I said, it's probably the best wording I can use. Disgusting. So it's just Nintendo fans, just the worst of the worst. Any fan of any hardcore fan, they can be, when they don't get what they want, they can be really terrible.
So, do we know? I assume Nintendo was going in and deleting some of those tweets from time to time, because it just looks bad for the company. First of all, like if some random person or a parent or somebody wants to look at E3 stuff and looks at Nintendo briefly, and every single reply is vitriol.
You can't delete someone else's tweets.
You can't. Or can you?
No. If I tweeted at Nintendo and said, "Go screw yourself," where is my smaller 3DS? They can't delete my tweet.
Can you make it not show up as like a direct reply? Does that make sense?
No.
Because you can click on a tweet and see all the replies to that particular tweet. Okay.
I mean, and it's also in Twitter search. Like, you could just search at Nintendo America, and you can see everything that is getting tweeted to at Nintendo America. And if you want to have a soul-crushing, 5 or 10 minutes, go do that.
It's humbling. It is a scary thing.
So, Greg, I don't know if you're a big Metroid fan, but what was your reaction to the video, the announcement?
I was disappointed by it. I mean, and I didn't know it was Next Level Games, and I mean, CJ's right. Based on what they've done in the last few years, I'm sure it'll be great. And I actually said on the most recent Player One podcast, because we did coverage on the Nintendo World Championships, and Blast Ball looked great. It looked like a lot of fun. My kids thought it looked really fun too. But yeah, knowing that that's the Metroid game we're getting, I mean, it could have been worse. It could have been another Other M game. you know. But
That
I
is
don't
the
think that
worst
would've-
case scenario.
it's just not what I was looking. It's just not what I was looking for. I
Yeah.
feel it was just one in kind of a string of not disappointments, but just not much to get excited about on that whole Nintendo Direct. To be
Well,
honest,
let's continue talking about it. We also got to see a new Animal Crossing game, like an Animal Crossing board game that makes use of more amiibos that are coming. And Reggie was very adamant that, thank you for buying so many of these amiibos. Guess what? There's a ton of them coming. So open up your wallets and get ready to stand outside Target before it opens.
I don't think that was an exact quote, though.
No, I think I'm actually reading the quote. It's actually
At Best Buy, actually, not Target.
Oh yeah, that's right, because that's the official retailer of Nintendo's E3 events. But I don't know if you guys are. I don't remember you guys being really big Animal Crossing fans, so I don't know if you want to spend any time talking about that particular part of the conference or not. Raise your
Well,
hand if you do. Or
I'm just gonna throw it out there.
sure.
This again sort of continued that streak of this is not the Animal Crossing
It's not
game
what I wanted. yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not even that big on Happy House, whatever the hell it's called.
No.
Well,
Designing the house stuff is like the stuff I like about Animal Crossing the least.
Yeah, my house is a storage room when I play Animal Crossing.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's really it.
Well, I think the trend that I kind of saw throughout this Nintendo Direct is that I feel like we're not getting whole games. We're getting like half games that they ripped out of other games, whether it be Metroid or whether it be Animal Crossing game, or even when we kind of look at some of the other stuff that we're going to get to in a little bit. I just feel like
I'm going to say right now
Yeah.
that I doubt the dev teams look at it that way.
oh, but I'm saying like these. As someone that watched the conference, like I'm looking at this like.
I agree.
Except for Mario Maker and Star Fox, I think, and in Mario and Luigi Paper Jam, I think everything else kind of looks like, all right, what can we throw together and get out this year so we have something on the calendar to sell to
Totally
people?
agree.
Yeah,
I totally
I
agree
know
with
that.
you. And it smacks of a system that doesn't have a ton of third-party support. Going a year long almost feels like it's going a year longer than they expected it to go. Expected it to go.
Imagine if Microsoft or Sony had all of their third parties just pull support. Like they'd be screwed. Nintendo
Totally.
is the only company like supporting Wii U and 3DS to a large degree, except for Atlas and NIS. So I mean, what can they do? they're doing what they can.
They can make a Mario Tennis game, which is what they do when they have nothing else. The last 10 years of Nintendo, that is what they put out. They can do it quickly. Nobody really wants it, but it comes out.
Well, you have Camelot. You have Camelot there. They made their Mario Golf game for 3DS, and next up is tennis. You got to tick those boxes like you do with your Mario Kart and your Mario Party, and that's totally fine. All those games are quality. They're quality games, but
Sure.
even let's just jump right now to the Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes, which is coming fall 2015. It's very much like Four Swords Adventure, but it's three-player. Three swords, online co-op, and the good thing that I saw is that it can also be played solo, where you can take control of the other people to set up the these puzzle-solving mechanics and things like that. And going off of the Link Between Worlds engine and just adding in that four swords, or I guess, like you said, in this case, three swords adventure, it just looks like, and this is a full retail game. It again kind of looks to me like, all right, what can we do in this engine? What can we get out, this year? I'm not super pumped for it, but I'm still going to keep my eye on it. Josh, I mean, in terms of Triforce Heroes, I mean, were you a big Four Swords guy? Are you going to definitely pre-order this?
I didn't play Four Swords back in the day because of how
Well,
difficult
who did?
it was.
Well,
Right,
who had
exactly.
four friends except for you guys that were working at a magazine where everyone had like a Game Boy Advance? Like
True.
at the point that the Four Swords games came out, my friends were on to Halo. They were on to other stuff. They did not want to play Nintendo games. Look at the GameCube sales,
Right. Especially something that difficult to play. But then I actually finally got to play it when they released the DSi version. I finally got to play it with people and kind of fell for it. Like I had a really good time playing it with my friends because you can just do it wirelessly over the DS in that case. So knowing that this is in the A Link Between Worlds engine, which is awesome. I mean, that game plays so well.
Totally.
And it's going to actually have online multiplayer in this case.
Without chatting.
Really to play it. What's that?
Without online chat, which
Yeah,
I know this isn't usually. I mean, this was kind of like a big deal for Splatoon, but this game you have to work together to solve
true.
puzzles.
But I don't know if you saw this on the lower screen. You have like 8 different chat commands, and they're actually pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, they seem like they would be really useful.
Sure. I mean, it's not something like I'm saying I would definitely want, but I think it would make a little bit more sense since you have that microphone built into the 3DS anyways. If you could just hold down a button and say, "Hey man, I need you to go step on that button. I'm going to throw you the bomb, and then you're going to need to throw it onto that block." Like if it was totally optional, if they had some kind of like even use your friend codes or whatever to make sure that you're playing with only your friends and talking.
To be devil's advocate here,
Yeah.
On the 3DS, especially if you're going to play with strangers through matchmaking, it's very likely that someone's going to have their volume turned all the way down, or they wouldn't hear you if you were chatting with them. So, I mean...
yeah, but that's kind of a... Okay, sure. It's not really a reason not to include voice chat.
I guess not, but Nintendo doesn't do chat. I don't know why. They just
CJ, when we're talking about Nintendo, you have to say to play Devil's Third instead of Devil's Advocate.
There you go.
Which wasn't even there.
Wasn't there
It's
either.
supposed to be coming. I mean, they even had that last year at E3, and it's still not here. Let's talk about Mario and Luigi Paper Jam, a mix-up of the Mario and Luigi series and Paper Mario. You know what? The last 2 games were pretty mediocre. What if we put them both together and make one great one? Let's see if it's possible. It looks awesome. I'm gonna say just straight off the bat, it looks kick ass.
I can't wait for it. I'm like that. I'm such a big Mario and Luigi fan, so like the RPG series, and yeah, the last one, it was mediocre for a Mario and Luigi game. It was still okay. It just lasted too long. The game went on too long. Sticker Star was a disaster, I thought. But yeah, I mean, I'm there day one for this. Like, please sign me up. I love Paper Mario. I love the Mario and Luigi games. They're due for a good one in both series.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I mean, that team can get it right. So let's do it. That was definitely the thing I was the most excited about on this Nintendo Direct. Like,
oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Well, don't worry, Greg. It's coming in 2016.
I know.
Don't get too excited.
Yeah.
CJ, big fan of the Mario and Luigi games. You think it's a good concept to just bring all this stuff together?
Yeah, it's a good concept. I'm not really a fan of those games, but seems all right to me. I thought Triforce Heroes was good. That was my big announcement.
And it's coming really soon too, so it's something that we're at least going to get to try out this year in 2015. Josh, Mario and Luigi and Paper Mario, where do those rank on terms of your Nintendo properties that you like to play?
Yeah, I like Mario and Luigi a lot more than the Paper Mario games, though I like them both. I just think that the Mario and Luigi games are probably a little bit funnier.
Sure.
But yeah, so and that really means a lot to me as somebody who loves comedy. But I think this game is going to be really cool, and I'm going to buy it day one and all that. I guess just my only question is why? But, I get it. You have to do something different sometimes, so maybe this will bear fruit for them. I'm afraid it might just be spinning their tires a little bit, though.
Well, the 3DS definitely has a little bit more life in it, and, once you're done with Mario, what was it, Paper Star?
Sticker Star.
Sticker Star, yeah.
Sticker Star?
You should be done within about 10 minutes.
Okay. Once you're done with Sticker Star, you make Mario and Luigi Dream Team, and when you're done with that, you got to make another game. So that's why the 3DS has some legs still, both in Japan and in North America, at least until we get some news next year about the NX. So that's why you make another Mario and Luigi game, and it looks. I'll be real. It looks super cool, and I'm kind of just getting into this series as I build my DS collection for things get nuts. I just picked up Mario and Luigi's not Dream Team, Partners in Time, and Bowser's Inside Story. So I have those on my shelf to start going through.
But Bowser's Inside Story is definitely the best one in a long time.
I will definitely
really like that game.
That's on my. It's going to be in my one of my 14 DSi's to play as we go forward. Now let's get to the real big gun, and we're not going to talk about every game that was covered in the direct because some of the stuff was maybe not worth talking about. It was kind of like filler, unless you like Activision, allowing Nintendo properties into their games. Let's talk about Super Mario Maker, which we also got to see at the Nintendo World Championships. I was tweeting to you guys while you were doing your show live, and if you listen to the first E3 episode, I said it's got to be $30. It's got to be cross-buy.
Nope.
And it's 60, and it's goddamn is that worth $60? That looks awesome.
Plus, it comes in a nice package with with a book and everything. I mean, I'm actually, I'm all digital on Wii U. I'm thinking of picking up a physical copy just for collector value.
Gotcha. I mean, they also showed off some of the original documents in the direct that they used to design the original Super Mario Brothers. It was absolutely outstanding, and from flipping, I guess they have the book at E3. That stuff is in there along with all the other examples for level design. So at least we'll have some of those scans in that book. So I think that is just an incredible value. I think the only downside is I wish that book was a lot bigger and I could get like more of like a coffee table book, kind of like that Sega. What is it, the Mega Drive
Collected Works?
Mega Drive Collected Works. If we could get one of those for just the Super Mario Brothers series, or just like the NES, like the original designs for the Legend of Zelda, Mario, like Clu Clu Land, like Donkey Kong, all that stuff would be amazing. But I don't even know what we can say about this. I think people should really go check out the video and see what you can do, but you can cross between the original Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 3, Super Mario World, and new Super Mario Brothers tile sets. And as you switch between the two, they all have corresponding parts in each version of the game. So if you want to change the level that you designed from a Super Mario Brothers 1 to a Super Mario Brothers 3 level, you can do that, and then you can also add on top of that. They've also added brand new items and brand new mechanics into the game, like we saw in the Nintendo World Championships, that you can have like a helmet. So, when those, I used to call them ice cream sandwich dudes, they would come down and try to crush you. I don't know why we called those as a kid. They supposedly look like ice cream sandwiches.
Swamps?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
The guys that would wait for you to go right under them and then they'd try to crush you. Sorry, I don't have the branding manual in front of me, Greg.
Damn.
Now you can actually put a helmet on so those won't crush you, so you can make even crazier puzzles, just Rube Goldberg type setups. And you guys, CJ and Greg, you guys kind of like halted the podcast when this stuff
was great.
Was going on. CJ, what was the best thing that you saw out of the World Championships, and then also in terms of like the Mario stuff, and also today?
Oh man, I mean when what's his name? Numbers.
Johnny Numbers.
Johnny Numbers. When he finally got the pattern on one of those levels with the conveyor belts and started his run, it was so exciting.
It was.
Like I know there are people out there who are like, why would you want to watch somebody else play video games? And for the most part, I agree with that. But in this case, in the Nintendo World Championships, it was so much fun to watch. Mm-hmm. In part because this is the game we all know and love, Super Mario Brothers series. We all know the enemies and the levels, and to see like all of these things mishmashed and have this one guy be on stage trying to go through it in front of however many people is it was just super exciting, and I'm totally excited about Mario Maker. I just I'm down with it. I've heard great things from everybody who's played it.
One more feature of note is that you can create your own levels and then you can share them with the community, but you cannot submit them unless you can complete that stage, which I think is fantastic. So you're only going to get stuff on that community sharing platform that the creator was actually able to beat, and it's not going to be like, oh man, like I downloaded this level and I've been trying to beat it for 5 minutes, and actually it turns out there's no possible way to beat it. So that
Pushmo has similar rules.
Exactly. Yeah, it's great. Greg, are you going to be designing some new levels? Are you going to be trying to do anything with that?
Probably not.
It looks so easy though. That's the thing.
Yeah,
like Little
it
Big
does.
Planet looks difficult. This looks easy.
Yeah, but the reason I didn't design levels in Little Big Planet wasn't because it was too hard. It's just not. It's just not for me. I don't know. It looks awesome. I mean, I totally went from I went from a non-believer to a believer in the past 2 days. I will admit that. I don't know that I will buy it, but it looks incredible. So.
But I think if you compare this to something like Little Big Planet is like, it's like physics, physics math compared to this. This is like, I think someone made the comparison. I think it was John Riccardi on Twitter said it was just like Mario Paint. In terms of like the drag and drop and selecting stuff, like it's Nintendo.
It's like
Media Molecule is great, but this is Nintendo. Like they're going to make it easy to use. I guess that kind of makes sense that I just said that. I don't know.
I have a question for you guys. So this is a game that seems like a really great idea with the success of Minecraft. Do you guys think it could actually be, obviously it won't be on that level of success because it won't be running on as many devices as Minecraft, but, and I never say system seller, but kind of, sort of, I mean, all the nostalgia and the video, the like viral videos they're making and everything, that this might be a big deal. This game might actually be like the best-selling Wii U game.
I don't think so. I don't see that.
That's pretty much unanimous, too.
It being the most prevalent Wii U game on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, and maybe they'll have some hooks integrated for that, right? Because, I mean, YouTube's going to launch their service, so we'll see.
I think also Nintendo, they're still sitting at $299, right? And you've got Sony and Microsoft really breathing down their neck at that price point. So without a price drop, I don't think Mario Maker is going to be a system seller.
And let's be honest. Like right now, the Xbox One is $299. It's every week. There's a $50 gift card. Like I just bought one at Target. There's a $50 gift card at $349. Plus, there's an extra game. And if you go on Microsoft's store, you can get the console with the bundled game plus an extra game plus the $50 gift card. Like they're practically giving these things away. Where Nintendo's just like, we're just going to sell these Wii U's to the people that want Wii U's, and I think we're kind of seeing, along with this Direct, that they're done. Like after Star Fox, after Zelda on Wii U, and after what we're seeing this fall, I'm looking at their outlook for next year. There really isn't a lot after this year, except for Zelda, and there's going to be another. Probably a sequel to Hyrule Warriors, if I had to guess.
And I mean, I think we all kind of assume that Zelda's going to end up at the very least doing what Twilight Princess did.
Absolutely.
Right now, beyond the new console. So,
I think if you again look at the content from today, they're saving a lot for the new console. Like they're holding down that charge shot. They're making sure they're at full blast before they let go for this next console because of how terrible the Wii U launch was. It was really was a botched launch from the iffy third-party support and the quality of those ports, and then from not being able to really get out some good games from Nintendo for really about a year. And you can say what if 101 was there, but no, it's like Mario 3D World, and you had to have that.
But you know what? I love the Wii U probably more than any console in a while.
Totally, yeah.
Really, I think it's just so much fun. All the games that Nintendo themselves have released have been great, and it's just a shame that people aren't into it this time around. Nintendo's just at the very top of their game here on this system.
I think, Kevin, you're absolutely right. Like, because of, they need to supplement their own launch this time because it just didn't happen on the Wii U. Like, they couldn't count, so they can't count on third parties this time either.
No.
So, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Like, hold everything back and then just all of it comes out within a month of the launch of the next system.
Well, think about 2016 in terms of we got 3D Mario last year, and now we're going to have about 3 years, that they've had a chance to work on the next one, and it would even be 5 years from New Super Mario Brothers U. So they have a new Mario game that they're obviously working on, and they're going to be having that for launch along with Zelda, and we haven't heard from Retro.
That's what I was about to ask.
Yes. I mean, what's Retro doing?
They're doing Metroid.
Yeah.
For the NX.
Yeah. they're doing Metroid.
More than likely.
Here we go again.
Larrabee Lock.
Larrabee Lock 2016. Okay, so let's blast through the rest of this. I mean, those were really the big pieces. I think the big thing is that there's more amiibos. You're even getting an 8-bit gigantic Mario amiibo.
Buy all that. All of it. Give me all of it.
This.
Man.
Bear with me for a second because I think this is kind of my concern, is that they found the amiibo thing to be very successful, and I'm worried that they're going to get into a little bit of a trap like they did with the Wii, where it took off, it was super successful, and I guess I'm just worried that when they see they go so deep into whether it be like motion controls or just kind of like one gimmick, which I think the amiibos are kind of a gimmick. It just worries me with Nintendo because I feel like they kind of need to play the field a little bit more than they tend to. They always seem to go all in with stuff.
They can keep making these figures. I'm fine with that.
Hopefully they can get them to you, CJ. Like I said, get ready. I hope you got some good winter clothes, man.
I know.
I will say this: it's for the best if they don't end up tying a lot of content to the amiibos. If it is more additive and cosmetic.
Yeah, buckle up. That's not the way it's going to go.
Actually, my worry with that is that Animal Crossing board game, right? Because the Animal Crossing board game, its title is Amiibo something. So, I mean, that right there just tells you that game is going to lean on Amiibos even more than usual. And, that trend I don't like.
Okay, so we got no smaller 3DS with faceplates, which is a huge... it's a huge bummer because I like my 3DS XL, but trust me, my smaller 3DS it is literally dedicated to 2 games. It's dedicated to DS stuff. I just ordered Dragon Quest Theater Rhythm because it wasn't announced in that Sega 3D Classics collection. That's all I can play on it because of the region lock. So I was hoping for one of the two. Either, guess what, today, new firmware for your 3DS.
Yeah.
No longer will there be region locks. And then the other thing I was hoping for is, guess what? We heard you guys. You know, we're Nintendo. We listened to they said that twice during the show, I think. We listened to our fans, and they said it on Twitter again today. They did not listen because people demanded this. The people that reviewed the Nintendo 3DS XL, I swear, in like almost all those reviews, they said, yeah, but we wish we had the smaller one too because the faceplates are a ton of fun and the form factor is a lot better for a lot of people that they want to bring this thing on the go. So, I mean, CJ, were you looking for that too?
I have a theory about this.
Yeah.
My theory is that they will announce it, but closer to the holidays, because right now they probably still have a lot of 2DSs around there in retail channels, probably a bunch of new 3DS XLs. They're gonna. My feeling is if they're gonna announce this, it's gonna be closer to Christmas and not at E3.
Yep, I agree. Don't flood the market with 3 versions of the same hardware.
I hope you're right. It's just the 3DS is not selling super well in America right now. It needs a shot in the ass. I think, would we all buy one? I would buy one. Would you guys all buy one?
I'm not sure if I would.
I would.
If it had Splatoon faceplates, then maybe.
Oh, wow.
Oh, for God's sake.
Hey, TJ, this is related. Kevin, this is related. Did you know that, before you mute me, did you know that there is a Wii U gamepad faceplate that is Splatoon themed, and it's coming out next month?
Great.
I'm very excited by that.
So this is the roadmap that we have for Nintendo as we go towards the end of this year and into next year. We got Mario Maker coming on September 11th, which I think is still weird to say like September 11th when it's to anything with that. But the other big release is Chibi Robo Ziplash, which is coming October 9th, which could be really cool. I like the look of that game. A week later, we got Yoshi's Woolly World coming on October 16th, which looked fantastic. It's a lock. I pre-ordered it. Awesome. And that is it for the fall and the holiday. We're going to get Star Fox Zero without a firm release date. We're getting Yokai Watch, which I think is worth checking out. That looks really cool. There's a reason why it's been a huge success in Japan. We're getting Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, Sonic Boom, Fire and Ice. I know Greg pre-ordered that.
God.
And then Xenoblade Chronicles X is making it just before the end of the year on December 4th, 2015. So not a terrible lineup, but definitely you have to really, you have to be really invested in one of these franchises to get pumped up for it.
Not a terrible lineup, but not competing with
No.
systems that are going to have Assassin's Creed and
Oh
Call
my
of
God,
Duty and
it's jam-packed.
Forza 6 and
Those
Gears
costs.
of War and oh
Fallout
my God,
4.
Halo.
It's a tight year, and then for 2016, what we have announced so far is Mario and Luigi Paper Jam, Hyrule Warriors Legends, which is the 3DS version of Hyrule Warriors. We have Zelda for the Wii U. We have Fire Emblem Fates, and then we have Metroid Federation Force. So it's not even coming this year; it's coming next year. And just to reiterate what you guys said, Next Level Games makes great games. I wish they weren't making this game.
Yeah.
I wish they were doing something else.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that.
So that's it, and then we get the NX, which is going to launch for $499.
Larry Lock.
Right.
Larry Lock.
It was interesting, though. So they started the digital event talking about this being a time of transition for Nintendo, and I think that just was what the whole presentation was. It's like this is very clearly a downswing for them, and next year, who knows what'll happen with the NX. But
It's like the middle of a season of 24.
yeah.
That's what they're in right now. It's the middle season of 24, where you can kind of skip a couple episodes, and like Bauer is going to get trapped in a garage or something for a little
He'll
bit.
get out.
He'll get out, and Chloe will help him and stuff, but nothing was really happening.
Right.
And then Star Fox Zero comes out. So
Wait till you see those mobile games, huh? Yeah.
I'm excited for them, honestly, CJ. I know you are
I
too.
am too.
probably. Yeah.
all right. Let's talk about Microsoft, which happened yesterday at the time of this recording, and wow, they came out. They just brought the brass knuckles. They came for a fight, and
Yeah.
let's start off with what they started off with, which was Halo 5 Guardians, which is coming October 2015, and I had no hype for this game. Coming to this, I am super pumped. I'm ready for another Halo. It looks gorgeous. I love the story structure. And today they showed more of the multiplayer on some of the live streams, or I got to watch a clip of the live stream. Multiplayer looks kick-ass, and I don't play multiplayer games anymore, but big team battles, gigantic maps. Like they said, 4 times the size of the biggest map of a previous Halo game. They're not kidding. Wow.
24 players too, right?
Up to 24 players.
There's that Warzone mode, right?
They have Warzone mode, which is 12 on 12, but there's also other enemies in the game that are kind of just getting you in between the choke points and stuff. So it's not only Spartan on Spartan, basically the story, and I don't have the story stuff in front of me, but you have Spartan Locke, who is the commander of a 4 Spartan team, which includes Nathan Fillion's character, exactly from ODST, which is an outstanding game. I can't wait to play the remastered one when my Xbox gets here tomorrow. But I think it's really cool. They're connecting old Halo with new Halo, and they're kind of getting some familiar faces in there, but at the same time we don't really know what Master Chief is doing. He is on the run, and this team has been put together to go after him. We've learned that Master Chief is the commander of his own 4 Spartan team, and what we can kind of guess, they haven't released a lot of story stuff, but the big guess out there is that he is doing something against the orders of the USNC and going to find Cortana or do something to help Cortana, which they do not want to happen, and that sounds super cool. That sounds awesome.
Are you thinking? I mean, the first thing that popped to mind for me is that we're going to get another structure like we did in Halo 2, where you're playing as. I'm guessing you're going to play as Master Chief.
Yeah, you're playing as both.
That game.
They said as much.
Oh, they did say that, did they?
They said as much. You're
Okay.
going to be playing as both sides.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm really, and I've gone on record before saying that I didn't really like Halo 4 very much, but I'm all over this.
Oh, it looks so good. It looks so like, and this is what they started with.
Yeah.
CJ, you gonna be playing some more Halo this October?
Definitely. Yeah.
Josh, you sold on an Xbox One yet?
Okay, so I'm sort of the swing voter right now, the swing state.
No, we're all three of us said it's awesome.
Yeah, there's no swing state anymore. We've already got the majority.
I mean, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to get a PS4 or an Xbox One now, and that Xbox conference with, I mean, Halo especially, and several of the other things, yeah, it's looking pretty good. Pretty good.
It's Xbox right now. This year you won Xbox.
Yeah, exactly. And then Morpheus next year is going to be a big deal for me, so I might go Sony next year.
Well, Josh, I'm going to give you another reason to get an Xbox, and you're only going to put up $30 to get it. And that is the Rare Replay Collection, which is coming August 4th, so it's really soon, August 4th this year. And we've heard rumors about Battletoads and maybe a new Perfect Dark game, and they just said, screw it.
Screw it.
Let's get let's get everything again. It's like I said, Nintendo's like going to war. It's just like let's drop the nukes. And it's a $30 nuke, which is the Rare Replay Collection, and it has an NES Remix like setup in terms of like goals and objectives and like mini modes where you can like play bits and pieces of these games with challenges.
Well, that's part of it. You can play the full game.
Points.
I'm getting there.
Okay, all right.
I got all these notes here. So,
Blast Core.
This is the games that it's coming with: Jetpack, Attic Attack, Lunar Jetman, Saberwolf, Underworld, Night Lore, Gunfight, Slalom, RCMFN Pro Am.
Amen.
Yes.
Cobra MFN Triangle, Snake Rattle and Roll. Like these are like some of the best NES games. Digger T Rock, Legend of the Lost City, another NES game. Solar Jetman, Hunt for the Golden Warship. Battletoads. RC Pro-Am 2, which is like a $150 NES game. Battletoads, the arcade game, which kicks ass and is pretty vulgar. It's cool to check out. Killer Instinct Gold from the N64. Blast Core, Banjo-Kazooie, Jet Force Gemini, Perfect Dark, Banjo-Tooie, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Grabbed by the Ghoulies. Well, sure, throw it in. Perfect Dark Zero, Cameo, Elements of Power, Viva Pinata, Jetpack Refueled, the Xbox Live Arcade game, Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, and Viva Pinata, Trouble in Paradise. Holy shit!
It's a great collection.
On a game for $30.
It's really the only two things you're missing are Donkey Kong Country and GoldenEye, and those are for obvious reasons.
Yeah. It's great.
Impressive.
They did release, this is in the PR today, this is kind of their tag, Brawl with the Battletoads, grab Jiggies in Banjo-Kazooie, and fight the future in Perfect Dark. You'll uncover bonus content and exclusive looks at the creation of Rare Replays hits. Master the basics or test your skills with the all-new snapshot challenges, which is, like I said, is kind of like what they're doing in NES Remix, and 10,000 gamer score. Gaming's greatest are back, lovingly presented and exclusively on Xbox One. This is what NES Remix should have been.
And just to throw out here too, because I know that if you're like me, you love this stuff. The documentary, there's a documentary on there. It's over an hour.
Yeah.
Of Rare's history.
Of just Rare's,
awesome.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And again, not to reiterate, but you guys remember I talked to you about NES Remix, months ago, and I remember talking about like. I don't want to play bits of these games. I want to also have these whole games. They're giving you 30 games, 6 of them which are retail Xbox 360 games for $30. And this is why, the Virtual Console setup will never make sense for me in terms of like value. And like I was talking with Mike about this on Twitter. Like this is why Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection is so great. It's not perfect, but you get 30 or you get like 40 games for $20.
Yep.
I think a lot of people are about to fall in love with Blast Core.
I never played it.
Yeah, that's the thing is I think a lot of people haven't played it and they're about to realize how good of a game it is.
It's okay.
Well, yeah, but the point is totally makes sense because I mean I think a lot of people don't bring up Blast Core as one of their favorites because they just never played it.
Right.
I'm not saying that you're going to fall in love with it for sure, no matter what. But there's a lot of games on there that I think a lot of people have never played. Especially, we're all getting me and CJ are getting kind of old. So
We
I
are.
mean,
Battletoads arcade game.
yeah,
I
I've
never
never
even saw
played
that.
Battletoads arcade games, so for me that's like the main draw. To be honest.
That's
Yeah,
something.
I'm all over this.
I got to see Battletoads arcade game for the first time on the main machine that they had at Game Trailers when I interned there, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't even know there's a Battletoads arcade game. It's actually kind of similar to the Genesis version, Greg.
Oh, really?
If you have that in terms of context, but it is like super vulgar and it's super gory. Like it is really
Awesome.
violent. So
And so RC Pro Am 2 is fairly rare these days. Is that
Oh,
what you were
yeah.
saying?
yeah,
I didn't
it's
know
like
that.
$150.
Oh, well, that's awesome then.
Good. That's a couple
Yeah.
meals for the kids. And also, I don't know if this is one. Well, I guess it could be one disc because it's going to be a Blu-ray. What do
Yeah.
you think of that?
Oh yeah, for sure, it could be.
Do you guys like old games? Do you guys like old games, right?
A little
No,
bit.
Or are we on Back on My Play?
This is well, we're all over the place. We're on the internet. So, actually, let's just go to it right now because I need to talk about this. So Phil Spencer comes out and says, what's like we listen to you guys, like just like Nintendo, we listen to you, just like Nintendo. But Microsoft actually does listen. And one of the big requests that we got,
Well, not at first.
not at first, but it took like 3 years. But
It took nobody buying the console for them to.
Well, you know what? Sorry, just to jump
Yeah.
in. I was thinking this as I was watching that because Microsoft's conference was great, and I
Yeah.
felt great for Phil Spencer and that team because I mean, yeah, that launch was a debacle, and then there was obviously a regime change at Microsoft, and it looks like this year is when it's all come to fruition.
and we're going to have to come back to that too. So he comes out on stage and he's just chilling out, and he says, like what we want to do with Xbox One is have the biggest library of Xbox games playable on this box. So how about this? What about I talked to engineers. What about backwards compatibility for all our 360, or not all of our 360 games, but Xbox 360 backwards compatibility? And guess what is available, in part to preview today for our preview people, CJ, which you are one of, but we're getting up to about 100 games by winter or holiday this year. Plus, they're planning on working on more as we go forward. But CJ, you've actually tried this out.
Yeah.
What do you
It's
think?
fantastic. It's
It
great.
works?
Yeah, it works perfectly. You go in, for the download games anyway, you
Okay.
go into My Games and Apps, and then you scroll all the way to the right, and you'll see like games you can install,
Mhm.
and the 360 games that you purchased just appear there.
That's so cool.
You just go
That's
ahead
so
and
awesome.
download anything you have. So I downloaded Geometry Wars, Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie,
Hexic HD,
Cameo. What?
Hexic
HD.
Yeah.
Hexic, yeah.
Whether you want it or
No,
not.
it is available right now. That's one of the games that's part of
Yeah.
the program right now.
Yeah, and then I installed Viva Pinata off of a disk.
So
And
you do need the disc in there, right?
so yeah, you have to have the disc in, and it downloads the game. But since they're Xbox 360 games on DVDs, they're fairly light downloads. So Viva Pinata was 5.2 gigs, so
Yeah,
that's
today was-
tolerable.
You brought up that's something I forgot to mention. It's not just physical retail releases, but it's also going to be our Xbox Live arcade games, which
That's right.
we bought
awesome.
so many games, guys.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I feel like I'm really getting close to not being able to have that 360 in my entertainment center now because I've held on to it because I've purchased over 100 Xbox Live arcade games.
Me too.
Over the years, and now to be able to just say, oh well, I can throw that in the closet and I can download Geometry Wars, or I can download potentially Symphony of the Night, or I can download whatever onto the Xbox One. It's just unbelievable. And they're what they've stated is that basically publishers, all they get to say is it's okay to do it, and we'll try to make it happen. That's all they have to do.
The other cool thing is that it transfers your saves. So if you had uploaded the saves to the cloud,
Oh,
when
I
you
didn't know
start
that.
the game, it'll have your saves all right there for you.
So
And
if you got like halfway through Mass Effect and then you put it down, you don't have to start over again.
that's right.
Or
It's
if you
great.
like,
I like the
still want
classic.
to play Mass Effect 3 and you don't have an Xbox 360 anymore, you can still import your Mass Effect 2 save into 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's awesome, and that kind of brought the house down. That was like their big announcement.
Huge. Huge.
Along with like saying, and by the way, like we just don't think you should need to pay to play the games that you already own. Throwing it right at Microsoft,
Nintendo.
their on-demand. Sure, but it's more with like Sony, where we think you should be able to play your PS3 games, but it's going to be on PlayStation Now, which is going to be whatever it is, like $10 a month or it's $20 a month. So it's huge.
I'm going to go to GameStop sometime soon and see which 360 games I can find on the cheap. Now that I know this is going on,
They're dirt cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the brilliant part about it, right? Because it's a built-in library. It's exactly what they say, and it's so consumer-friendly because of exactly what you're talking about. It's like a lot of these games are $20 or less.
You did this 2 years ago.
Yeah, they did. It should have been a launch feature.
hey, but they have it now. So it's and the reaction, like you said, Kevin. I mean, that was on par with the Final Fantasy VII announcement. I mean, that was huge.
Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. And let's just reiterate: it's a great move because it's not just that it shows that it shows that they're listening. Where Nintendo always says that they do, but they really don't. They just do whatever makes sense to them.
Well, they do, but they've got their own interests in mind.
Sure.
Well, everybody has their own interest.
Well, yeah.
But I feel like right now where Microsoft is kind of where Sony was in 2010 when they got their ass kicked for 3 years, and then they started turning it around, and you started getting games like your Uncharted 2 in 2009, and they started delivering things on their console that people actually wanted in features. They never got that cross-game chat in, but they started implementing as much as they possibly could because they were like, we're in a bad position right now. We just need to do what the hardcores want, and hopefully it's going to help. And for E3, it was perfect.
It's going to make this holiday super interesting to watch because Xbox One is certainly second place to the PS4, and can they turn it around? Is it too late for them, or what? Like, are we seeing? Is this a move more akin to like adding vibration back to the DualShock 3 or whatever?
Exactly.
Whenever that happened, and they still weren't able to turn that system around for a few more years. So we'll see what happens here.
Well, CJ, what if I could offer some new games?
I love new games.
Okay, so Keiji Inafune,
I've heard of him.
Mega Man producer. He produced like everything now. Mighty Number 9.
He's the Platinum Games of game producers.
Dude, he even did Soul Sacrifice. He was on that game.
Oh yeah.
I bought that. The dude's name's on everything these days. Ever since he left Capcom, and now he is partnering with Armature Studios, which has some of the former heads of Retro, obviously of Metroid Prime. They even went as far as to say from the creators of Metroid Prime.
They name checked it.
They did.
Great move.
A brand new IP exclusive to Xbox One, and that is Recore, which is going to be coming spring 2016. Fantastic trailer. Josh, did you see this?
I did, and I was excited for a number of reasons. First of all, those names at the beginning of the trailer, female protagonist, raising two girls. I just love seeing that. It's just great, and it doesn't feel forced or anything like that. And the fact that it's coming out within a year, I'm really excited. I would have liked to have seen a little bit of gameplay, but you kind of get the idea of what the game is at least.
That has been a trend of for E3 this year. Lots of female protagonists, or at least the option of a female protagonist for a lot of games, which is I totally agree. We talked about that on that pre-E3 show that we did. It's great to see. CJ, how did you feel when that dog exploded?
I thought it was great.
He likes a good dog explosion.
I thought, let's see that again. No, I thought it looked great. I don't know.
It's just a trailer.
Nice.
Greg, are you going to be you pumped to put your blue ball into a big mech?
What the hell?
That's my fill for this episode.
Okay. Yeah, I think it looked. I mean, I'd like to have seen some gameplay, but it looked fantastic. It looks like it's right up my alley for sure.
The tone, the music, and I'm such a sucker. Like, I swear to God, like, even when I saw, like, I will say, like, the emotion of that trailer, I don't know if it's because I'm a pet owner or whatever, but, like, anytime I see, and I know it's a robot. I know it's AI or whatever the hell it is. But as soon as that dog was going to sacrifice itself for her, I was like, dude, oh, man, I almost, like, can't watch this. Like, this is, like, heart-wrenching. But I think this might be my most excited, the most excited I am for a game that we only saw a CG trailer of. I'm so pumped for this, and it's coming spring 2016. Yeah. So we're really, like you said, Josh, we're not going to really wait too long to get a hold of it, and the pedigree is there.
Yeah, and that's a smart exclusive to lock down because it's a new IP, so it's probably not as expensive for them, as it is to keep like the Call of Duty license or whatever. So I think it's smart. I think it's a great move. And they have a few games. They have Sunset Overdrive, which was an original IP. They have this. They have Scalebound. So they're doing this, and I like that.
Yeah.
Part of that $2 billion that they locked up for exclusives. I guess they're still going into that, which is
matters.
It's why I bought an Xbox One today.
You guys are selling
me. I bought an Xbox One today. There's just too much good stuff coming this year.
Yeah,
I mean, we're not going to, like I said, talk about everything that was in that show. We're going to get to third parties at the end. But one of the big things that they locked up and that they got to show an extended cut of this year with a lot of gameplay was Cuphead.
Oh, my God.
Josh, I'm going to let you talk about this first because you were kind of freaking out.
Yeah, okay, so in the notes I put this is borderline genius, and it's one of those things that you didn't realize you had been missing it and wanting it until you see it. And like, why had someone not made a game with this art style? It's so smart, and it's immediately gripping. Like, I showed it to my students for some reason. There was no good reason for it, but I showed it to them, and they were all, it wasn't like a video game class, it's just a general writing for film class, and they were all just like, whoa, that is so cool looking. I think that game has potential to kind of blow up like Super Meat Boy and some of the other earlier indies on Xbox Live Arcade did.
Greg, you're getting your new Gunstar Heroes game.
Oh my God, I can't wait for this. This looks so incredible. I mean, and I think the reason why it hasn't been done before is really you didn't have the consoles that could do that type of animation justice. It would have been sort of an abstraction of, it's like, kind of imagine how this would look if it was done in the 20s, but now it actually looks like it was done in the 20s. And
they did it in 1993 with Comic Zone.
It didn't look like that.
You know what I think we need to see is Mickey Mania come
redone.
Back.
Yeah,
done with this style.
But I mean, actually, that's a good example of it. Like Mickey Mania, they did some tricks that, again, it's like, in 1994, it looked incredible, but it didn't look like this. Like, it's just, I mean, it looks like you're watching an old film reel.
My only concern about Cuphead is, well, I haven't played it, so I don't know. But you have this beautiful animation. I just wonder where like the hitboxes are on everything, and whether that's going to be as tight as the visual presentation. That's my only concern. And I haven't heard anything bad about it, so I assume that it's good. So
it's a valid concern, though, because it's obviously a game that we could see how it might push visuals before gameplay.
Yeah,
but we don't know, like you said.
We don't know.
Let's assume the best.
Yeah. I think Warren Spector has one more in him.
No.
Okay.
One more what?
Well, another Mickey Mouse game.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't he get booted from Disney? I don't know. Anyway.
So don't worry. They're going to have plenty of time to work on this game because it's not coming until 2016. There's no even, quarter announced. It's just, I'm guessing we'll see it next year at E3 2016.
It's No Man's Cuphead.
No Man's Cuphead, yeah. No, that sounds pretty good. Anything else that you guys saw at the Xbox conference? Actually, I want to throw it over to you, Greg, because there's a couple things as a guy you like to get in behind the wheel.
You like to get
Yeah, I
funky.
mean, Forza 6, they only showed. I thought it was smart how much they showed of that. Actually, they didn't really dwell on it, which was nice. Although they had to show off the new GT, which okay,
That was a
I don't know
waste.
why they bother with that. But it was nice to what little they showed off was kind of exactly what I wanted to see as a Forza fan, and still with sort of sad memories of Forza 5 and how limited it was. I mean, it looks like you have a day-night cycle. I don't know if it's a cycle or if it's just you race, in one or the other. It looks like you've got dynamic weather. It looks freaking gorgeous in general. I mean, that's what I wanted to see, and it's such a brilliant. I've said this for a while. It's so brilliant that they've got two teams working on the same engine for that series, and I am so happy that I can get like 2 Forza games a year or in the space of like 15 months, and can't wait for it. And I also wanted, so the other couple that I wanted to mention too, like no one's really talking about this, but they did the rare collection thing, and then they started showing Sea of Thieves,
Yeah.
and I thought that looked really good.
Yeah, same here.
Like it just looks, I mean, pirate game. Sweet.
But I didn't really know it's like. Yeah, we're seeing this pirate stuff and ship battles. That looks cool, but what's the underlying story and
Who cares?
what's the setup here?
Who cares? You're a pirate. You're in ship battles. I'm sold. That was the only part anybody liked about that Assassin's Creed game. Now it's a whole game about it.
Yeah.
It's an MMO, right?
Is it?
Supposedly.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, but you couldn't really tell from the trailer. But I mean, the art
Yeah.
style's cool, and I could certainly see how you could do some interesting things with MMO elements in that universe.
Definitely interested in it.
More than
And then
Fable Legends.
yeah, not as much.
Hey, before you talk about the next thing, Greg, I booted up Tomb Raider on my PS3
Oh yeah.
the other night, and I got the momentum back. I
Nice.
got back into it, and I'm like almost towards the end, and that game is super good, and like it is a showpiece for the PS3 still. That game looks incredible.
And the next one looks like it's going to be the same thing.
Oh wow, yeah.
I thought what they showed was fantastic and exactly what I'm looking. I mean, it's basically Uncharted with Lara Croft, but I'm totally okay with that. So and yeah, like the last game was I think I called it my favorite game of that year. So totally looking forward for more. And I've actually got the PS4 version pre-ordered from a couple of years ago. But I'm totally grabbing the Xbox One. I'm not waiting to play it. It looks too good.
Yeah, and that is going to be coming this fall. So you got not too much time to wait for that. Again, Microsoft, a jam-packed fall
Yeah.
with
You know what
exclusives.
you didn't talk about is Adult Swim games. We had 2 games in their
For 3 seconds, yeah.
presentation for Xbox One.
One of the games that
Westerado
was,
Double Barreled and Rise and Shine coming to Xbox One.
Westerado is I'm buying that. I don't know what the other game is too much. I'll have to check it out.
Oh, it's good. You'll like it. It's video. Well, so it's called Rise and Shine. You're this kid named Rise, and he has a gun named Shine. And it's a shooter. It's like a Metal Slug. You're set in this like video game world, and it's like a shooter
Okay.
puzzler.
Wait, is this game out on PC already?
No, it's out in 2016 on PC, and it's got hand-drawn animation. You got to check out the trailer. You're gonna love it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that sounds like it's up my alley. All right. Damn. Yeah. Xbox One, and those are exclusives.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
PC
Yeah.
and Xbox One.
Okay. They also showed HoloLens. You can play Minecraft. All right. So let's talk about Sony since we're getting close to an hour and a half here. Sony had an interesting show.
Yes.
We're just going to get this out of the way because Adam Boyes was up, and you just kind of started to hear those violins play or whatever the hell they were from the theme to Shenmue. And I literally said I feel so bad for the people because that's like it came on around 10 p.m. and where I live, and I have people that live above me, and I just screamed out, "Holy shit!" Like they're really like I was joking before Twitter. I'm like, yeah, here we come, Shenmue 3, Larrabee Lock, get ready for it. It's coming. And this is what happened. Sony, I guess, heard about the Shenmue 3 Kickstarter earlier, and they said, hey, you know what, why don't you come out on stage and we'll announce it kind of together. We'll let you use the platform to announce the Shenmue 3 Kickstarter. We think what you're doing is great. We later learned today, a day later, that Sony is actually helping support the game financially.
Yeah.
So it is looking like it is going to be a PS4 and PC exclusive, very similar to Street Fighter V. But the goal was $2 million. It got funded in about 8 hours.
I'm looking at it right now. It's currently sitting at 2.8.
And this is,
less than 24
hours.
Yeah.
We've had a
We're not
really
kidding.
We've had a really interesting thing going on with Kickstarter over the last month and a half.
Yeah.
You know, with like these retro games or games that are at least spiritual successors to retro games just being funded, so it gets faster and faster every time.
Well, there's some more stuff about Shenmue 3. Obviously, Shenmue 3 does not cost $2 million to make.
No.
They even have Kickstarter tier goals to get extra areas for the game. So if you want to think like in terms of like Shenmue, where it was broken up into a couple different areas, they're trying to make sure they hit these goals so they can create those areas too. It's going to be an Unreal 4. And under the frequently asked questions, you do get a little bit more info that people were going to be asking, like, will there be a Shenmue 1 and 2 HD collection? And they have been given the permission from Sega to make Shenmue 3, but Sega still owns the rights to Shenmue 1 and 2. That is not something that was part of their deal with Sega. So they are not doing an HD collection of 1 and 2. There's also, at this point, no physical release for the PlayStation 4.
No.
Which is not yet. And I even went as far as to message them through Kickstarter, and I'm just going to read you the thing that they sent me back. They said, thank you for your message. We're very sorry, but we have no plans to release a physical copy of the PS4 version at the moment. We hope that you understand. Please understand. Best regards, the Shenmue 3 Kickstarter team. So, not at this point, but we've seen with other Kickstarters like Bloodstained that it is possible to get a PS4 version put together, and they're doing physical just on PC right now. But damn, guys, we're getting Shenmue 3 in
Crazy.
winter 2017. Holy crap.
I'm so happy.
Did you beat 2, Greg?
Pardon me?
Did you finish 2?
No, I never did, actually.
Okay.
But now I have a reason to go back and play it.
That's exactly what I was going to say, is that we did Shenmue 1 for the show. Like one of the first episodes that we ever did was Shenmue 1. And I have an Xbox copy of Shenmue 2, and I now have a reason to play that. And I'm still going to wait a little bit, but we might still get an HD collection. If Sega sees this and says, like, holy crap, they got $15 million on a Kickstarter, I think we can probably give someone like $5 million to make an HD collection and throw it out on PSN. And they can even do it on Xbox One. There's nothing stopping them now.
Yep, absolutely. No, it's just nice to see that it's finally going to get finished. And I mean, especially when they had Yu Suzuki up on the stage there, and you kind of think about, man, that guy, like, you're looking at some amazing history there. I mean, he's responsible for some of the best arcade games ever made. You kind of wanted that guy to be able to finish his dream, his passion project. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now we're going to get to continue our journey in China, go into an arcade that is an HD, and play Outrun. On our PlayStation 4s. That's the only Outrun exclusive to the PlayStation.
Most expensive MAME shell ever made.
Whatever, it's going to be $29 for the digital version for the Kickstarter. To get a physical version for the PC, it is $60, and then you can go up to $89 where you can get a digital version on PC or PS4 and the physical version, and right now we don't know who's developing the game. It's not like a team at Sega that they can say, hey, this team that has done this is developing the game.
What's Indie Create's doing? They're not busy.
No, they're making everything, dude. So what I'm guessing is that, he's going to see how much money he gets and then potentially even go back to Sega and say, hey, Sega, look, we got this money. Can I grab some of the old AM2 folks, what's left of AM2, and put that together into a team for Shenmue 3? And we're at least 2 years away from ever seeing this game coming out. But goddamn, we're getting Shenmue 3. Holy crap.
Crazy. That was certainly the biggest WTF moment.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the was it game trailers? Was doing a live stream, and one of their producers or one of their commentators just went crazy on the stream.
That's awesome.
So amazing.
They showed that guy at the conference standing up. It looked like he was in tears.
He's doing this. Just
he was, and that guy too.
But you get this is almost unlike anything that people have been asking for years, because we're talking 2002, so it's been 13 years since we got to see Shenmue 2, at least here in North America. It came out in 2002. It was 2001 in PAL and in Japan for Shenmue 2 on the Dreamcast. But this is something that people have been asking for forever, much more so, even more so than The Last Guardian, which also we can touch on briefly, but that finally we saw again, and it looks like it did 8 years ago or 6 years ago, whenever the last time they showed it.
But I'm excited about that.
I think it looks great.
Yeah,
well, it does look. It looks as great as it always has.
Yeah, it is the same thing. You're right.
And it's coming 2016. So again, Sony is really lean this year in terms of exclusives. They got nothing.
Well, they got Until Dawn. They showed 2 seconds of that in their E3.
Is that really their only?
Yeah, it was really weird. That was in the middle of a montage, but it actually had a bottom third to tell you what it was, and
I didn't even realize that was exclusive.
It was okay, on with the rest of the games.
Exactly. We have the Uncharted collection.
Oh yeah.
Come on.
Also,
that Ratchet & Clank game coming out.
That's true. That looks great.
Yeah, isn't that this fall?
That's next year, isn't it?
No, it's September.
Oh, is it?
Wait,
yeah.
Ratchet & Clank is next year.
Uh-oh.
It's maybe?
No, I'm pretty sure. Check on Amazon right now, Josh, while we're doing other stuff.
Okay.
Sorry. So, all right. Well, we got to see a couple other games announced. We got to see, like I said, The Last Guardian is finally coming in 2016. Supposedly, the director is back. I think it was Ueda is back to finish that game after somewhat of a falling, apart between Sony and him. But it looks like he's back and he's reinvigorated, or they gave him enough money to come back and finish it. Also, we got to see the new Guerrilla Games game, which is Horizon Zero Dawn, which is coming in 2016. It is set up in the post-apocalypse, after all the crazy stuff went down in the apocalypse. We're talking maybe 200 years after the bombs went off, or the war, the Terminators were activated, whatever. This is when this game takes place, which is very different than from a lot of the other post-apocalyptic games that we've seen up until this point, and that is also right up there in terms of my games to show. Looks unbelievable. Looks great.
I mean, it was kind of a theme that was going with the Sony conference, was sort of pleasant surprises. It's okay, we got The Last Guardian, that's coming 2016. Wasn't sure we were ever going to see that again. The Shenmue 3 Kickstarter, wow, didn't expect that at all. But yeah, when Guerrilla Games comes out, and I mean, they've been stuck in that Killzone rut since they became a place anybody even knew about. And I'm not saying, that's not to say whether Killzone games are bad or good, but just they've been doing that series forever. And it was so refreshing to not only hear that they were doing something different, but then to see it, and it's this looks really good. It looks really interesting, and I love seeing a post-apocalyptic game that has actual color.
Another female protagonist too.
Yeah. There was a lot to like about that presentation.
Absolutely.
I think the story, the background story, kind of like what I was kind of getting out of Recore a little bit, but there was obviously a lot more story involved with this trailer, and then we got to see actual gameplay. But I think that it's almost kind of like, sorry if you haven't seen it, but like Battlestar Galactica, kind of like seeing what happens to humans, after they're almost forgotten, and that you forget that there were these ancestors. Like, what if we weren't the first humans on Earth, or something like that? Like those kind of stories, like the Stargates, always really intrigue me to see what they can come up with. I'm really, really excited for, and it kind of, like a lot of people are saying, it looks a little bit like Monster Hunter in terms of,
Yeah, it's got that look.
like how big, like lots of boss battles, or maybe let's just call it Monster Hunter. Lots of boss battles, resources. You got to go kind of pick up stuff, bring it back to your camp. 2016 though. Speaking of 2016, oh sorry, go ahead.
I just said yep.
Yep. 2016 is going to be great because you're also going to get Uncharted 4, which, I mean, it's a real bummer. It looks like they had some controller issues to start the demo, but I'd rather not focus on that. I'd like to focus more on what we saw. Best looking console game.
I think so.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing looking.
and the vehicle segments were so awesome as well.
Yeah.
Which is something I don't always think of when I think of Uncharted. And then they kind of had the Assassin's Creed thing with the huge crowd you're navigating through. Just super impressive.
The only thing I would say, like the vehicle stuff, it looks really great if you can do it right.
Right.
Don't crash into a wall,
I'll bet
go the
you.
wrong direction.
I'll bet you when the time comes, it'll be so forgiving that it'll feel like you're a superhero.
Like pulling you to the right with the camera. And stuff like
Naughty Dog's perfected that type of gameplay. Right?
Well, remember in Uncharted 2 when those buildings were falling apart, they just know how to. And like even Tomb Raider, when it was playing through Tomb Raider, like when stuff is all like Tomb Raider, stuff is constantly falling around you. Like the floor is always falling out.
Yeah.
But they're always like tilting you towards the right place to jump, and you can see what you're supposed to be grabbing on.
I always die a lot in those sections.
As long
all you
as
got to do is push up and press jump.
I forget to press jump all the time.
Yeah, that's true. That can happen. But outside of those, we didn't see any Vita stuff except for a weird Final Fantasy game.
Well, they had a Devolver Digital thing where they showed some titles that are coming to both Vita and PS4.
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about the other retro revival of the show here? The Square Enix trailer?
Oh, that's right. I didn't want to talk about it. Yeah, okay, so that's the other thing in terms of like I only like forgot because again I meant to just put stuff on this outline that we wanted, and I'm looking at my own outline right now. I apologize for that. But Final Fantasy VII, not PC version.
No. Although that is also coming still.
That's still, for whatever reason, it's still coming.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
Sony, and I guess this might be, I don't know if it's confirmed with its third-party partners development team, listen to the fans, and we are getting Final Fantasy VII Remake, not HD, Remake is what they're
How many years did people tell Square Enix that they should do this? And they always said, oh, it would be impossible. Like, we couldn't do it. There's too
Since
much work.
2005, right? Were you there for the PS3 event where they showed it?
Yep. And now they're doing it.
So it only took 10 years.
Yeah.
That's not that bad. That's like a Nintendo.
Well, they haven't been working on it for that long, right?
They haven't started it.
No. Yeah, exactly.
That's what came out today. It's the game hasn't even started development. Like it's super early, so I'm thinking 2017.
At least. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. But hey, at least they're getting it done. And they're putting that stuff together.
Well, 2017 will be the 20th anniversary, I believe, so that makes sense.
That's true.
Sure.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I hope it's. I've tried to play Final Fantasy VII after never touching it when it came out originally. I tried playing it on my Vita, and I just didn't like it.
It's dated. It's very dated.
It definitely doesn't hold up. I tried to play it last year as well. because I had been slowly started working my way through all the Final Fantasies, and I got to 7, and that was pretty much where I stopped.
Well, let's get into, and again, I know I apologize. There's other stuff that was announced, but we're just trying to focus on the things that kind of matter to us most, just due to time, because we're going to get it close to 2 hours on this show, anyways.
Hey, in the montage, Death's Gambit from Adult Swim Games.
Oh, Jesus.
That was pretty good. Pre-order now.
Half a second of footage. Death's Gambit. Awesome.
Third parties.
Cool.
Third parties brought the ruckus this year. They had, like, the heaviest hitters are going to be pretty much on everything. And that includes, this is the latest conference, this is the last conference of the show, but I need to talk about this. Square Enix. They had Deus Ex, that's cool. They had some more Final Fantasy VII Remake. They actually just replayed the trailer. Then they had some other stuff to talk about, but Just Cause 3 is my game of the show.
Wow.
That looks like the most fun that you're going to have this year, December 2015. It's coming out, and Just Cause 2 is one of my favorite games from last generation. It's a complete blast. Literally a blast. You never even need to touch the store. You can just fly around. You have 400 square miles in this game. You have a squirrel suit or whatever the hell it's called. So you can you have a Tanuki suit, so you can glide and not just have to use the parachute. You can now grapple multiple things together, and this is going to be the best game of the year.
I think December is a really smart time to put that game out too, because November is so crowded, especially the first couple of weeks. This can kind of stand out and get a lot of press and maybe a lot of streaming footage and kind of blow up during that period of the year, I'm hoping.
Who wants to be out those same weeks as Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty?
Not Just Cause 3.
How about Fallout 4? How about Star Wars?
Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God, Star Wars Battlefront looks so good.
November is going to be a bloodbath for these publishers and for our wallets.
Yeah.
Like
even the end of October is bad.
October and now December. Like if you like Nintendo stuff, you're also going to have Xenoblade X.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but no one's going to buy that, so it's okay.
You're probably right. That trailer didn't help a ton, but okay, so. Just Cause. Am I the only one that did you guys like Just Cause?
I love
2?
the Just Cause series.
Okay,
those games are fantastic.
I've never played it.
Oh, it's just a big sandbox, but with just stupid abilities. You
can blow everything up. You can take a plane and just go 2 miles into the sky. And the stuff that they did with PC mods, including 400-player multiplayer. I'm not kidding when I say that.
So awesome.
Multiplayer.
Wow.
And then Square Enix, or I guess the developers, totally supported. They said that's awesome, and they took some of the stuff that people were developing for Just Cause 2 and said that's so good, we're actually going to implement it into Just Cause 3. So.
Yeah, I love it. I'm so glad. I didn't know it was coming out this year either, so that was a very pleasant surprise today.
Well, it's obviously tight, December 4th. So
yeah. I think that's strictly for business reasons, though. Just get it away from everything else and let it stand on its own.
For sure.
Yeah.
Square Enix also announced some new RPGs, including Nier 2, which
Platinum Games once again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want to bring up. Platinum Games, and according to 8-4 folks, that game, the first one's worth playing. But they also worked on it.
I was going to say they worked on it. Yeah, I've heard a lot of that game has some hardcore fans.
Yeah,
and it has I have the soundtrack. The soundtrack is nuts.
Yeah.
EA, you're gonna get to play with a lot of guns, but you're also gonna get to play with some yarn, Josh.
Unravel was a really pleasant surprise. And so at first I was like, this looks a lot like Yarn Yoshi, but then as I watched it, I could tell this is a really different game than Yarn Yoshi. And so it's coming out on PS4, Xbox One, PC, and the idea is that you use the yarn that you are made of as a main character as a grappling hook in some segments, and you use it to kind of do some platforming and to build some platforms, and you can eventually run out of yarn, you give too much of yourself. The indie developer kind of talked about that and sort of the emotional reasons for the game, and it was really charming just to see his enthusiasm. If you guys haven't seen that part of the conference, you should go back and watch him talk about his game. He's in love with it, and you can tell it's coming from a good place. And I'm willing to get behind something like that.
That was completely beautiful, and I thought it was so real and honest and genuine of a developer to describe his game that way. It's going to feel really bad when the game doesn't do well and EA shuts down his studio.
Yeah,
you're right.
Studio. They're just publishing his game.
I know, but they'll find a way.
Wow.
They're gonna like go up to his house and shoot his cat in the head in front of him.
Well, I mean,
Headshot.
the thing about it was I thought it looked great. I was super impressed with the presentation there, but it didn't fit in an EA conference. Like, EA is a AAA publisher looking for games that are going to make them millions of dollars. What is Unravel doing? A game that
This is
Perception as a publisher.
Ubisoft does now. That's what it is.
well, maybe maybe.
Great comparison. I think it is just like, EA isn't just about Battlefield Hardline, Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront, shooting people, stabbing people.
I hope it works for them. The last time they
football.
tried like something different, it was Mirror's Edge, and not
guess what?
really a sales success there either.
But don't worry, because they said let's give it one more shot, and you're going to get Mirror's Edge Catalyst in potentially early 2016.
It looks good. It looks like it's going to be a little bit more narrative focused than the first game was.
But it's open
Yeah.
world.
Yeah, and they're getting away from the gun stuff a little bit. They even talked about that.
That's a good thing.
No gun stuff.
Open
Not
world.
open world, but also it did not have as good of a song in the trailer.
Therefore,
That's a great
as
song.
Still Alive. Dude, hell yeah. Okay, let me go back to my outline because I'm looking at Twitter. So if you are still watching live, if you want to give your final thoughts as we start to wrap up of what you thought of E3 overall, what you liked and what you didn't like, tweet to @BackInMyPlay, and I'll read a couple of those at the end. Also with EA, along with Unravel, like I said, we got to see Mirror's Edge Catalyst, which is going to look great. But I think the thing that really stood out for EA was Star Wars Battlefront, which... How the hell does that game look so good, Greg?
Oh my God! I mean, we were hanging out with CJ and I were hanging out with one of the guys that's in the Extra Life Guild here, Austin, and he made a really good point actually last night when we were watching this. Was like the Hoth stuff has always looked good that they've shown up till now, but when they started showing the stuff on Tatooine and on Endor, it's just like, what in the world am I even looking at? Like, this looks far too good for what this game is. Like, and then they start showing some of the ships, and that's all I care about. Like, I just want to get into some of those ships and some of those mechas, whatever you want to call them.
Battles,
Oh my God, I
dogfights.
I just can't wait.
going through the canyons, like
Yeah.
makes whatever it was TIE Fighter on the Sega CD. What was it? What was on the Sega CD? Maybe that was
Rebel Assault. You talking
Rebel
about Rebel Assault?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not so awesome. CJ, you ready to jump into an X-wing and fly it directly into an AT-AT?
Yeah, sure. I'll do that. I mean, it looks fun. I'm not really like a huge Star Wars gamer, but this looked like it could be a lot of fun. So I'm sure I'll check it out.
What do you think, Josh? Are you going to be Luke or do you want to be Darth Vader?
I want to be Boba Fett, but yeah, Darth Vader will be fine. What a cool part of I can't remember which conference it was because it was at Sony and it was at EA's conference. But when you see a guy kind of floating in the air and you can't really tell what's happening to him, and then the character turns around and it's Darth Vader. Wow, that was so awesome. That game is probably going to be the best-selling game of the year. And I just can't imagine it not just selling gangbusters.
The hype is going to be insane. I mean, considering when it's coming out.
Right. I think
2
it's
weeks
going to
before the
definitely
movie.
eclipse
Yeah.
Call of Duty.
Yeah. I hope so. That would be great. That would be great to see. Nothing against Treyarch. I mean, they make good games, but it would just be cool to see something beat Call of Duty once.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone gives a crap about Call of Duty right now. I'm talking like in terms of E3, no one gave a crap because
No.
Microsoft said no thank you, or they said no, actually we're not going to pay that anymore.
Right.
And Sony ended up putting it on there, and the demo was like, okay, 4-player co-op does not demo well. Even like when Microsoft, at least Microsoft brings like 4 people out on stage to show Halo co-op, and we won't even talk about what Ubisoft does with their fake chat. But I don't know, like I just
it killed the momentum. It killed the momentum of the Sony conference.
It really
in my
did.
mind. It really did. Like, I mean, I know those games are good, and I know that some people get really excited by them, but it just, I turned away. Like, that's when I got up and went and made a sandwich. You know, like, yeah, it's Call of Duty. Great. It's going to be awesome. I don't care. It's not a selling point anymore.
Yeah. Well, I hope you like to shoot stuff, because Bethesda says guns are still A-OK in our book, because they started off, and this is the first conference. We kind of like went in reverse order, like all over the place for the show. But Bethesda on Sunday night debuted gameplay footage of Doom,
Yes.
and that looks awesome.
Oh my God.
Looks great.
Yeah.
It looks great, and it looks like a ton of fun.
There were a lot of people on NeoGAF complaining about the little weapon wheel and how it kind of slows down time for just a second while you use it. But I was like, who cares? Look at this. Look at hell in this game, and the architecture that they have down there of the demons and everything. It is what I would have imagined Doom being in 2015, back when I was playing it in 1995 or whatever.
Did you type in it's called Evolution of Game Design?
I did. I typed it and I pressed enter and I crossed my arms.
Also, like, I don't have a 6 key on my Xbox One controller.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. Yeah, we gotta have a wheel or something.
Yeah.
But that game, it feels like they get it. Like they kind of lost their way with Doom 3, and it feels like they get what Doom is again.
God, I want to play Doom. Like,
Yeah.
after I don't know how many of you guys played Wolfenstein New Order.
Yeah.
But that was also, I know obviously different developers, but like, if they can kind of give it a little bit of a spin, like they don't need to do the story like they did in Wolfenstein New Order, but like I'm ready for another Wolfenstein game, and you know, Doom, if they can get the mechanics right, the guns look incredible, it sounds amazing, and they have the evolution of the mechanics that you need to have in a first-person shooter today, without just saying, all right, well, you're gonna have, you know, your fake Cortana buddy talking to you the whole time, and things like that. I'm really looking forward to it. CJ, you like killing things in hell, right?
Yeah. If it runs at 30 frames a second, then I won't get sick playing it. So
Oh yeah, I forgot about that with you.
sadly,
Yeah, it's about.
Maybe
I
you can
can't do
lock
it.
it at 30.
I couldn't do it with Wolfenstein, and probably won't be able to do it with Doom. So
That's true. I remember that. Greg.
Oh, you know I love Doom.
Yeah.
I even liked. I'm one of the weirdos that like Doom 3 as well, and that demo was exactly what I wanted. Like, it was just talking to me the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yes, the enemies are teleporting in right in front of you, just like they did in the original Doom, and that's
wrong with
exactly
that?
what it needs to be.
And they're
Exactly.
going with like a health bar that actually lowers, and you have to refill it, not auto refilling.
I actually love the way the like health things like spill out of the enemies too.
Yeah, it looks kind of like
Great.
Borderlands or something, but it just all comes out
It's like
to you.
you're-
immediately.
It's like you've just busted a gory pinata every time.
That's exactly it.
Great.
I mean, it's like I haven't been much into the shooters. Maybe the last like 2 years or so. Like I'm not going to pick up Call of Duty. I have no interest in that. But like this, like again, like kind of like Wolfenstein, it just feels like a little bit different. Like it is a lot different when I feel like I'm killing demons or Nazis versus just killing like, you know, fake Middle Eastern country people, and like, or like I even said for Far Cry, like I just can't play a game where I'm just shooting animals to make a bigger wallet. Like it just, I just can't separate the reality from the game when it comes to feeling about killing innocents like that.
Going back to Call of Duty, when they started showing that game in the Sony conference, that was the first thing I said was like, the only time I'll ever get excited about this again is when they come out and it's a World War II shooter.
Yeah,
If they
yeah,
do a
maybe.
Call of Duty World War II shooter again, I'm there day one.
Dude, Call of Duty Call of
It looks
Duty
so
where
good.
they figure out time travel. Like, make a time machine where you travel back into World War II, kill Hitler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm down with that. Sure.
All right, and also at Bethesda, we got to see maybe the biggest reveal of E3, the thing that was most anticipated by the majority of people, and that was Fallout 4, which is going to be coming to Xbox One. It's going to be coming to PlayStation 4. And it's going to be coming to PC on November 10th, 2015, in that hell schedule of November where everything is coming out. I can't remember. It was so long ago now, but CJ, did you ever make it all the way through Fallout 3?
No, I didn't.
Where'd you stop?
I liked what I played, but
Yeah.
I don't even remember where I stopped. I'm interested in going back and picking that up.
You might be able to on your Xbox One thanks to the
True.
new backwards compatibility, which is kind of nuts.
Yeah.
Greg, how about you? Did you ever get all the way through Fallout 3?
No, I got about 12 hours into it. I really enjoyed what I played. I just never just put it down for some reason and never managed to pick it back up.
The problem was that you guys weren't in college like I was at the time and had tons of time to kill. So I put a ton of time into that. Josh, you were probably around the same age. How about you?
Actually, I didn't play Fallout a ton, but I respect it. It's cool. I missed the isometric ones, the first couple.
And it's in Boston.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Are you going to find the remains of your place when you play that game?
I live
You
so
could
far
rebuild
away
it.
from Boston, it wouldn't be in there.
Okay.
But go ahead, Greg.
Did anyone download Fallout Shelter?
I did.
What do you think?
I think it's a really cool idea and a great way to kind of maintain hype until the game comes out. And it's suited well to the device. And for those who don't know, it's the mobile game that they announced at the conference.
Yeah, you're basically just building a vault from the game. You're
It's
constructing
SimTower.
it. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's one of those hurry up and wait kind of games in certain spots, but
Sure.
It's well written though in terms of like the dialogue or little like
yeah.
what it tells you to do and how it explains them.
And if you zoom in on the rooms, the characters in there are actually having conversations with one another, which you don't really realize at first. But
Yeah.
it's a pretty cool little game.
Absolutely.
Free.
It's free.
Also kind of interesting, Fallout 4, I think, was the only game that I remember anyway, where they talked about a second screen experience, the C3. Remember when that was a big thing?
That was the thing for a while.
Dude, every Ubisoft game had a second screen experience.
Yeah. But this one actually looks like it could be cool. A little Pip-Boy thing.
Are you going to get the special edition with the actual Pip-Boy?
I'm not.
He's
Yeah,
a
but
fifth.
it's-
You can't digitally download that thing, Greg. You can't digitally download it to your arm. We don't have replicators yet.
Not yet.
3D printers though, so we're getting close. Okay, so there's one thing I forgot. At EA, Need for Speed looks. It's
Terrible.
Need for Speed. No, it looks awesome.
The FMV, man. I love it.
FMV, and it just looks like in action. It looks great. It's what I need until I get Forza Horizon 3.
I love how they were like, you can't tell when between the live action and the graphics. Well, you can tell when the real actors go off camera that you're switching to the graphics.
Who's developing? I haven't seen the EA conference. Who's developing it?
I don't know. Oh, it's Ghost Games.
Okay.
They are the Need for Speed people now.
I think they're doing a really nice thing with Need for Speed, though, because they're kind of breaking it into 5 categories with this, which helps with the whole open world driving thing, to just sort of give you an idea of which thing you're into. Because I really love the outlaw thing, where you're driving from the cops or speeding away
Sure.
from the cops, and that's just kind of its own separate thing that you go into.
That's what you are, Josh. You're an outlaw.
Yeah, well, when you live that life, you can't turn it off when you play video games.
So, because this is fun and why the hell not, let's do some grades real quick. CJ, Bethesda, what are you giving them a grade from A to F?
I'm going to say B.
Josh,
A-.
Greg,
B plus.
You're all wrong. It's an A.
I was closest.
Um,
You're what's wrong with the public school system.
Microsoft, CJ,
I'm gonna say an A.
Josh,
A minus.
Greg.
A plus.
Greg, you're right. It's an A plus. It is a home run.
Every single thing in that conference was interesting, and almost all of it's coming out this year.
Yeah,
Love
they brings the ruckus to the ladies, like in Curb Your Enthusiasm.
What a great show.
It's a great show. Sony, CJ.
I'm gonna say an A also.
Interesting. All right, Josh, what do you got?
B.
Okay, Greg.
B minus.
You're all wrong. It's a B plus because they brought some's the ruckus. They didn't bring it all.
Too much coming out next year and beyond.
That's true.
It's all coming out next year and beyond, Greg.
That's what I mean. Good stuff, but all of it's too far away.
Yep.
All right. Now this is where we have to remember. This is where we put our journalist hats on, and we forget that we are fans of this company, Nintendo.
CJ.
CJ.
D. Maybe a D minus.
God, I love you today. All right. Josh.
Sorry, let me get Waluigi out of here. That was weird. I don't. Anyway, honestly, D plus. Yeah.
Greg.
Yeah, I give it a solid D.
I think I'm going to give them an incomplete because they didn't bring.
I'm the college teacher here.
They didn't even hand in their homework, man. Like,
hey, Mario Maker is good. You know that's gonna be good.
Mario Maker is a contender for Game of the Year for sure, and that's a game we're gonna play for years.
You know the thing is though is that with the championships that happened the night before, they blew their wad on Mario Maker. That was their big selling point today, and
Kind of.
we'd already seen it.
So disappointing is that they had an opportunity to announce like more content for Mario Kart 8 or more Splatoon stuff, or and they didn't do it, and that sucks.
Or nothing. I think CJ, you mentioned it in the outline. Nothing about Club Nintendo.
Yeah, nothing about Club Nintendo. They could have talked about unified account system. Even if they have something in the works, they could have previewed it, and it would have been getting cheers. They could have said something about region locking. Would have gotten cheers.
Well, again, like they said in Twitter, like they said in even a investors meeting. Yeah, we understand. We're hearing you about region locking. You know, maybe it's not the best idea, but it looks like it's not going to be until NX. If they have NX region locked, you know they just don't care. They just are doing what they think is best for business, like Triple H and Stephanie McMahon.
And their presentation wasn't even an hour long. Like, why did they even bother with that micro direct a week ago? It's not like they had to move out of the way, get some announcements out of the way for big E3 stuff. Like all of those could have gone in the digital event and would have made that better.
I don't know. Chibi Robo probably wasn't going to bring this up.
Yeah.
It's
You're
so
right.
still should be cool.
Hey, Ryu and Smash is pretty cool, but that wasn't part of the conference, so yeah.
Right.
And it leaked like.
And
we knew
the
about it.
championships. I mean, that broadcast was a lot of fun.
It was a ton of fun.
I don't count it against this. I mean, you know. Today
The
was just
puppet
boring.
stuff was the best
It
stuff
was.
in that conference.
I hope they come back, and I think we can all agree that they come back and do the Nintendo World Championships again next year.
Sure.
It was a great PR move. It was a great thing for hearts and minds of Nintendo fans, and that's why I got really excited. I'm like, oh my god, it almost looks like Nintendo Japan is letting Nintendo America do something. Like they're letting them make some decisions, and all right, maybe it's going to let them listen. They're going to now let them listen to people in America that want stuff, and do something about it. So that's why I got really excited. And again, I remember just tweeting out this is the best thing Nintendo has done in a long, long time. So I really hope they come back next year and put the money forward to do it again, and maybe even come back and do champions of the Nintendo World Championship and bring some of the they brought some of the former winners back, like Thor Ackerlund was there, but have him come back up on stage and even just talk about Tetris or talk about something, and then maybe compete just for fun.
One thing I want to say, Splatoon really works well as an esport kind of game. The crowd was
Oh my
super
God.
into it.
Yeah.
I totally disagree. I thought I couldn't like I didn't know what was going on when they were doing it because no one had names under their
That's true.
thing. I didn't know who was on each team, and I don't know who those commentators were, but it wasn't working for me.
Yeah, the whole bringing in internet celebrities as guest commentators didn't work. That was
That part's
something
I don't even know who they are.
Exactly.
That's a Nabisco product.
That was the same problem they had with the video game awards, was bringing in the YouTube and Twitch celebrities.
But I knew who
Exactly.
Boogie 2988. Like I knew who that is. Like I knew.
Yeah.
And he's a smart dude. He's actually got a really good channel. All right, so third parties. Let's talk about EA, CJ.
I'm gonna say B minus.
Greg.
Star Wars.
Yeah, it didn't really matter. They had Star Wars.
Honestly, I don't know anything
What
about. I
about
didn't
Plants
watch
vs.
the EA
Zombies
conference.
Garden Warfare 2? Come on.
Yeah, whatever. That looked really good. I didn't watch the EA conference, so.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we can hear Danger Zone again.
That was a great song.
That was a little weird.
Yeah, and they also replayed like the same thing in Microsoft. Anyways, Josh, EA.
C, I'm just going to be honest because, I mean, there were some pretty low points during that conference, though it ended with the Star Wars thing.
Pele?
Pele, just having him there is always nice. They didn't really have a lot to talk to him about. It was a little like existentialist for a minute there, but, why not? At one point, we were just looking at pictures of football players during the fantasy football talk. There was just pictures of football players on screen for like a minute at a time.
Oh, is that the like elite team or whatever it's called?
Yeah. They brought out Robert Flores from ESPN2. And
Go to hitthepass.com to learn more about that. I'm sure.
Yeah, there you go.
They got some stuff on there now.
It wasn't good for a conference though.
You know what's funny is that we didn't even talk about Ubisoft.
Yeah.
I think that's all the grades you need. Really.
Because they showed the same games that they had last year, this year.
What about For Honor? Come on.
It's totally forgettable. Like it looked like that Xbox One launch game.
Rise, Son of Rome?
Like Rise, but just shitty.
That's saying something.
And like they had a trailer and they're like, oh man, it looks like he's jumping through time or something like that. Like it was Quantum Leap. It was not Quantum Leap.
They had that singer Jason, how do you pronounce his name? Derulo, and his backing track wasn't working correctly. That was a pretty good moment of that show. It was kind of funny. And they cut to a cosplayer randomly during that show, and then he tried to pull a woman on stage with him, and she wouldn't go. It was a real train wreck.
I will say Aisha Tyler is dope, and she does
Yeah, she's
as
good.
good a job as could be done
Exactly.
with that show, and also great on Archer. I just started watching Archer. Great show. If you need something on Netflix to watch, it's really funny.
She's on Archer? I only watched the first
Yeah.
couple of seasons of that.
Oh,
Is she in all of them?
Yeah, she's like the main black
didn't know
woman
it was
on
her.
the show.
I didn't know. Okay.
All right.
Huh. Okay.
Anyways, let's go to Square Enix. Square Enix gets an A because they had Just Cause 3, and you don't even need to answer that, guys. It's just an A. We're all in
Larry
agreement.
Lock.
It's a Larrabee Lock A
Larrabee Lock.
plus with a
Okay.
scratch and sniff sticker. I went with the expensive stuff for Square Enix. Bethesda. Did we do Bethesda? I don't
Yeah,
know.
we did. We've done them all, I think.
All right. Well, that's it.
Do them again.
Let's do it all again.
See if we're
And,
consistent.
who won E3? CJ.
I'm
Who wins?
gonna say Microsoft.
Any a bullet point thing that makes it they got over for?
I thought backwards compatibility was huge. I think their strategy with streaming Xbox stuff to Windows 10, or maybe it's the other way around, is really super interesting.
Yeah.
They did that Rare collection. They gave that time in a E3 presentation, which I thought was great. I just thought their stuff looked the best.
Greg, who won E3?
I have to say Microsoft.
Yeah.
Wow.
For me, it's that the exclusives that they showed that I'm interested in. Again, they're all coming out this year.
Mm-hmm.
So, it has me more excited for that system.
Josh, who won E3?
Honestly, Microsoft, but I'm going to say Sony just to mix it up a little bit. And the reason I'm saying that, though, is because they kind of presented themselves as the people's champion. Like, yeah, we're bringing back Last Guardian, even though we put it away in the first place. And Final Fantasy VII is going to be first on our platform. And we're involved with bringing Shenmue back. So I think that was really smart, just from a PR perspective.
The gamers won E3. I'm just kidding. No, it was Microsoft. Microsoft
Jeff Keighley won.
totally. Microsoft, like I said, Microsoft got me to go and buy a console, which I didn't think I was going to do because I pre-ordered the Batman Arkham Knight bundle for the PS4 a couple weeks ago, thinking I was just going to get PS4 and be there this year, and I'm going to cancel that. And I think I'm just going to pick up Batman on Xbox One because they figured out a lot of the early stuff that had things performing a lot better on PS4. It looks like it was very much like the 360 and PS3 where things were looking a lot better on 360 for a while. I mean, it's not for sure. I might still pick up the PS4 because I get a lot of PlayStation Plus stuff. But yeah, like Microsoft at $299 basically with all the gift card stuff that they're doing right now, plus a free game. Seems to be the best deal in town.
Yeah. I think the presentations were close though, because I mean the letdown I have with Sony was they didn't spend any time really talking about indie games, and that for the past 2 years that has been like a big focus, and it felt weird to not have anything about that stuff.
Well, their show was also 2 hours last year, and it was only 90 minutes this year.
Yeah, a little weird. They didn't spend any time talking about PS Plus or improving that, or like giving more space for cloud saves, or and backwards compatibility. They could have had something similar to Microsoft, and it could have been great. But so yeah.
Yeah, I would hope they could get. I mean, they got a lot of stuff under the hood of that PS4. I mean, even if they just said PS1 and PS2 limited.
Yeah.
PS2. Sure. That would have been gigantic if they could have gotten that stuff on there. Yeah, I mean, I think the story is that Sony 2016 looks great, Microsoft 2015 looks great, Nintendo 2017 looks great.
Yeah. Wow.
Sadly. Sadly, next year we're gonna get Zelda, and I'm gonna keep my Wii U. I'm gonna keep it on the shelf. And waiting. Well, I'm gonna have Mario Maker, but it's gonna be ready for Zelda.
Dude, you gotta play Splatoon. Come on.
It is so good.
So good.
It's the game of the year so far.
So much fun.
But you guys are right. I actually kind of liked, watching it a little bit, and I was really close to buying it. But the thing is that with all the other stuff coming out this year, I don't think I'm gonna have the time to devote to it. And like Mario Kart 8 is an unbelievable game. It's been sitting on my shelf. I never play it. And even Bayonetta 2 I never finished, just because there's so many other games, and playing games for back of my play takes up a lot of my time. So right now I'm looking at Xbox One with Tomb Raider, with all the other stuff that they got coming. We also got Mega Man Legacy Collection, which I'm looking forward to checking out. And they're like the Rare Collection. I think I'm gonna do my best to try to get someone connected with that, because I just think it's a beautiful thing that they're doing with the Rare Replay Collection for $30.
Do we know who's making it yet, Kevin?
I believe it's Rare. It's not Mike Micah. I asked him, so
okay.
I figured since they did the Sonic's Ultimate Genesis, like it honestly looked like the format was very similar. But like we were chatting on Twitter, and he was really hoping like this is just a start. Like hopefully we can get almost like a revival of these. Like remember the PS2, Xbox, and Xbox 360. Like the last 2 gens, we had tons of great collections of games, whether it was like Neo Geo games, or Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection, or Konami or Capcom putting these collections together for just a great value. I hope we see that again. Just so we can have another generation of people get to play those games, because whether pricing or not, Nintendo's not supporting the Virtual Console like it could.
Nope.
And unless the thing with digital eclipse takes off. Like these collections are going to be short and far between, or whatever that saying is. Few and far between. So yeah, I think it's a good time to be a gamer, man.
It is.
The war is on.
Absolutely.
This is great.
And consoles are in a healthy enough place. You know, there was that big discussion as of late about, well, can consoles survive? Yeah, it looks like they can.
Totally.
Maybe not in Japan, but at least over here.
No, they're selling. The Wii U's been selling great in Japan with Splatoon.
Yeah, Splatoon has helped. It has helped.
So that is going to do it for this E3 Tokyo Drift Spectacular, featuring your favorite people from Back in My Play and Player One podcast, or some of them at least. And thank you so much if you've tuned in and you made it through these 2 hours. Thank you for listening. And I would just ask that I hope if you enjoy either show, jump on Twitter, jump on iTunes and submit a review if you enjoy the show. Those 5-star reviews really help, and it helps us get separated from the other podcasts that might not be so great out there on the internet. And also you can follow CJ is at SuperPack on Twitter. Greg is at SEWART. Josh is at Joshua Hillier. I am at Kevin Larrabee. And for the podcast, they're at P1 Podcast and at Back in My Play. And thank you so much, CJ, for coming on. This has been a huge blast to do all this stuff.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. This has been a lot of fun.
And, of course, Greg, you're always available for podcasts, so thanks for always showing up.
Thanks, I think.
Even when I do Google Hangouts and I'm cleaning like Famicom carts or hooking up systems to my TV and trying out my new AV Famicom. Thank you for that.
Sure.
You also have generation-16.com.
Yep. Episode 16 was just released, where you can learn all about the Super Famicom launch.
Yeah, what's up with that? You talked about Super Nintendo stuff on a Sega Genesis thing.
You know what? We don't live in a vacuum, as much as we'd like to.
Speaking of vacuums, Joshua Hillier. I'm just kidding.
I got my hair stuck in one yesterday. Yeah.
He picked up a suck cut at Five Below. Okay. Suck.
It certainly does suck.
Nothing like a 25-year-old movie reference, or 93. So yeah, 22-year-old, or 92. 20.
Hey, it's Back in My Play, man. Back in my watch.
It is. I've been trying to think of a good name for an old movie podcast because I still got to get Georgia Dow to come on to talk about Flight of the Navigator, one of the most underrated Disney franchises.
Yes.
Is that movie?
Yes.
Metal signs again.
On that show, if you do that.
I do not leak Navigator.
CJ killed on the what I can't remember the name of the movie. The Wizard.
Compliance.
Yeah. Killed on that one.
One of the I know I'm stealing someone else's, like Shane Bettenhouse's catchphrase, but secret best time travel movie, Flight of the Navigator, and like the like serious impact that time travel could have on you and your family. Like seriously, it's so crazy. Like
the social
teaching
issue
kids about time travel.
Yeah.
Seriously, like what would you do if you like disappeared for 8 years and like came to and like everyone was older? Like that is some serious serious stuff. So we'll do that at some point. And
Yes.
CJ, I'll tab you in right now for that show too when we get to it. That is it. That's where I'm going to stop recording because this was a lot of fun, but we've recorded for 2 hours. E3 was great. And hell, we got Shenmue 3.
Yeah.
How bad could it really be?
That's a good